Hello, everybody. Welcome back to Anime Yay or Nay. I'm TheOutbackAl.
I'm hot for justice.
I'm Chibi Noob.
And I'm Envy Jitters.
And we're here with a movie that we looked at to say yay or nay on. And it's called Velocipastor. It's not an anime.
It's
but who
pure
cares?
art. That's what it is.
It's-
It's nothing but pure art.
It's pure art. Okay. So saith envy.
Okay.
So saith the world. So yeah, why did we decide to watch this? 'Cause why not? This is a movie.
Well, it is Easter coming up, so it has
Huh?
some religious. It's Easter coming up
Oh
pretty
yeah,
soon.
that's
so.
right. That was our go-to for this. Yeah, so this is a independent film that was made by I believe, what was his name? Brandon something? Brandon Steele?
Brendan Steer.
Brendan Steer.
Brendan Steer, right.
Yes.
So I think I read on like the Wikipedia page how he came up with this idea. He was typing Velociraptor into his phone, and it autocorrected to Velocipastor. And he's like, well, that's a movie idea.
That's
And
awesome.
then I think he was doing a bunch of small trailers for I think a class project.
Yeah, it
all
was
of
like a
his little-
Grindhouse-style
Yeah.
trailer.
And I think all of his other videos had about 45 views, whereas the Velocipastor one had 45,000.
Yeah, he found his niche.
Yep.
So he scrambled together some money, and he made this movie. And so let's get into the movie.
Well, it took a couple attempts
Yeah.
to get the money.
Yeah, because I mean, this is the premise of this movie is that there is a pastor who goes to China and gets scratched by a dragon claw and becomes a were-velociraptor.
Yep.
Which is it's basically a guy in a sort of deflated T-Rex suit.
Yeah, like
Yep.
if anyone's seen the movie Wolf Cop, it's basically that but on a lower budget. And I recommend Wolf Cop personally. So
Well, with this movie, you gotta know what you're gonna get. You gotta know what you're getting yourself into. You gotta get your mindset to. This is a low budget movie that this guy made with his friends, and they probably had a blast making, and it shows.
yeah. So if you're looking for high quality stuff, this is not it. But hey,
Nope.
it's fun anyway.
Please exit out of the podcast. This is not where this is going.
They
right
know
now,
what
right?
we're here for. They know what we came to see. So how does this movie start? We start with the happy times of being a preacher in I'm assuming a Catholic church.
Yes.
And we meet Father Doug. And things are going good for Father Doug. He is, I don't know how new he is, but he's like a newer pastor, preacher, priest. Father Doug. And he has a loving family, a mom and a dad who love him very much, and as soon as he goes out to see them, their car blows up in... I don't know what version you guys had. The version that I watched, it just said VFX car on
Yeah,
fire.
that was it.
Like,
Yeah,
it's
that's the
not
joke.
finished.
Yep.
Yeah.
That's the thing.
So if that doesn't tell you right away what this movie is going to be, nothing will.
Yeah.
So yeah, his parents blow up, and
Yep.
So yeah, that's a traumatic event, and so his other priest buddy, mentor, dude, forget his name.
Father Stewart.
Father Stewart, yeah, who has this like Mark Twain kind of look about him.
Yeah.
He tells him, "Go where you don't think God is, and if you find him there, he was within you all along." So he goes driving to China.
Yep. Quick
What were
thing.
you gonna say?
Oh, I was just gonna make a quick little observation here about
Yep.
how they're drinking out of the glasses that they use to serve communion in.
Yeah, they're just having they're drinking the blood of Christ to get over some death.
Yeah.
But yeah, so yeah, we cut to him driving a Chevy for credit sequence, and then he's walking through the woods, and he's just like, "I'm in China."
Yep.
Yep.
And because
Or his backyard.
Yeah, there's a lot of backyard shots in this.
Yeah.
Anyway, he's roaming around the wilderness of China when a lady is being hunted through the woods by a ninja, which is not Chinese, but, we're not going to go into that too much. And she's shot with an arrow, and she falls in front of Father Doug, and he's like, "Are you okay?" Seeing the arrow sticking right out of her heart.
Yeah.
I'm like, rhetorical question.
And she's
I laughed
like,
at that.
"Yeah, well, there's a lot of things to laugh at here." And she's saying something like, "The Dragon Warrior, I have a thing, and be careful, they'll hunt you for the rest of your life or something." And he takes it, and he gets shot with an arrow.
No.
He didn't? Okay.
No, he scratched himself.
Yeah, with the
with the dragon stone.
Yes, and then he wakes up back in America.
Yes.
Yep.
And apparently he's still having that dream where he's in China.
Yep. And Mark Twain is there to say, "Hey, it's okay. Get back to your priestly duties and do your thing." But he's like, "No, I can't. I'm so hungry." And he runs off into the streets in his underwear. As a priest to do.
Which, can I just make a comment about the priest costumes here real quick?
They're bad.
They're bad. Like, they're so bad, you can literally see the ties in the back.
Yeah.
And during that one sequence where he's basically telling him, "Go find God where you don't think you will find him," like, you can literally see on Father Stewart, there is, like, stitching coming out of, like, his...
Yeah, you see it in multiple places. And, like, I don't know what their budget... I know what their budget was, like $35,000. So I get, like, they're skimping on costumes.
Yeah.
But really, a priest costume is not that hard to make. You just need black dress pants and a black button-up shirt.
They were literally robes!
And
They were robes!
Yeah, you could literally just, like, put that same, like, piece of tape or something just under the collar of, like, the regular, like, black button-up shirt, and it looks exactly the same. But, yeah, they were... I don't know.
I've used a Snuggie before for Emperor robes for a school film.
Yeah, that seems like what they were kind of doing, too.
I was just too busy just laughing at the absurdity of going on. I didn't even notice the cheap costumes.
Same.
Yeah. So anyway, he runs past a hooker who goes get beat up by Frankie Mermaids. Was that his name?
Frankie
Mermaids?
Mermaid.
Frankie
Mermaid.
Frankie
Frankie
Mermaids.
Mermaid.
Why is he called Frankie Mermaids?
Because he's swimming in bitches.
Oh, I don't know. I'm not adding an air horn, but yeah, he just kind of beats her up for no reason because he's the bad guy or whatever.
Because he's the pimp.
Yeah, but like she didn't really even. There was no real motivation to it. She's like, "Hey, I'm here for work. Where do you want me?" He just smacks her. He's like, "Where do I want you?" I'm like, "She just asked you. Just tell her where to go."
Yeah.
But yeah, outside of that dumbassery,
Yeah.
she goes to the park because that's where the money is, and she's the money. I don't know. He's weird. And she almost gets mugged, but
Yep.
the father. First off, time in this is very weird because it goes from like day to night very fast and sporadically a little bit. But yeah, so she's about to be mugged, but lo and behold, the Father Doug is in the woods running around in his underwear when he suddenly turns into a velociraptor and eats the mugger.
Yep.
And then he wakes up naked in her bed, as you do,
Yep.
as a priest
Yep.
do.
Yeah.
And then we have of course, we're not willing to say what happened, so we have to innuendo speak a little bit. Because, you know what, just watch. If you watch the movie, you see it. I don't have to explain, like, what they're doing. I'm like, okay, to get to the point where they're going to just be like, okay, so what are you actually talking about? So yeah, apparently he's a were-velociraptor, and she shows him the dead body that she buried in the woods that he left
covered
behind.
it with leaves.
Why would you cover it with leaves? I didn't know what to do. I'm a hooker. And he's like, you're a hooker? Meanwhile, he's walking around
dressed up in her
mini
clothes with nothing else on.
Yeah.
dress. So who saw his peen? Because I did.
I did.
Yep.
Yeah.
I wasn't looking south of the equator, so I'll take your word on it.
It's kind of a noticeable bulge. Anyway, he finds out she's a hooker, and he's like, "What? You're a hooker? I can't be around you." Let alone he murdered someone already. And she's like, "Well, maybe you should kill some people, because bad people do bad things." And yeah, this is a lot to take in. So he just goes back to the church. I don't know when he changed, but he somehow mid-running changed it back into his robes and got to church to do confessions. And of course, who is confessing in the confession box? But
Freddie Mermaid. Frankie
now
Mermaid.
you're saying
Mermaid.
Freddie Mermaid. Was it Frankie,
don't
Freddie, or
know.
Tony? Mr.
Frankie.
Mermaid. Hey, it's
Frankie.
Mr. Mermaid to you. Mr.
Okay.
Mermaid. Mr. Mermaid is in the confessional booth, and of course he's smoking. Why? Because his life is on fire.
Yep.
And he's like, "Well, how long has it been since you last confession?" "I don't know, like 2 years. Where do I start? Let's see, the past 4 days. Let's see. I killed some people. I robbed some
He
people.
took candy from a
Let's
baby.
see,
The
stole
baby in the
candy.
river.
You can't have them snitching.
Nope.
I've been pimping. Let's see here. Oh, this one time when I was actually at this very church, I blew up this couple in a car in front of the church, and it was like some priest come out, and he was all like, "Oh, my family, my family." Hilarious stuff. It's like they're just piling on, like, how the funniest thing for me in this scene is just like, how much can he pile on before he inevitably gets murdered?
And lo and behold,
Yep.
Father Doug goes raptor on him and kills him.
Yeah.
Well, I think it's because he say that he was the one that inadvertently killed his parents. That day?
Inadvertently, he put a bomb in their car. There's nothing inadvertent about
Yeah.
it.
Oh yeah, that's right. So yeah, that's what
And they
really
flash back to
that's
him.
what
They had the budget to flash back to Mr. Mermaid's laughing at a fire, but they didn't have enough budget to put the fire in the scene where they blew up.
Nope.
So, yeah, but that happens, and then he goes back to the hooker. He's like, "Hey, so maybe we can kill people. Maybe people will confess their sins to me, and then I'll kill the bad ones." The death scenes in this movie are really drawn out. I don't know if you guys notice how long it takes people to scream and die, but it's a while.
I was watching, and I'm just like, that blood's really orange.
I know we picked this out in February before
Yeah.
everything happened. I really wish we could have watched this together and like just had some drinks.
Yeah.
I feel like that would have been a lot
Oh.
more fun. Because
I did that with some of my high
isolated
school
right now.
friends, and we were having a ball.
I mean, I was drinking while watching it, so.
Yeah, I would be too, but I gotta, yeah. So, God, where are we? Yeah, him and the hooker are teaming up to take down crime, and then we get one of their montages. There's a number of montages in this,
Oh yeah.
and it's a priest and a hooker falling in love while killing people as a velociraptor.
Yep.
Yeah.
That's
One
a
thing I
sentence
will
got
say,
to
though,
say.
I am glad that the actual raptor costume is an actual costume and not a shitty CGI model, because I was fully expecting it to be a shitty CGI model, but I laughed at it with a
Dude,
guy in a
they
suit.
couldn't afford CGI fire, which is like the easiest thing to find for free on YouTube. They weren't, yeah, they weren't gonna pay to make a velociraptor. Oh God. Oh, we do cut away for a bit to a secret Chinese ninja training camp where I forget his name, but he's the Dr. Fu Manchu character in every exploitation film. And they're like, "Oh, what about the drug trade in the place?" And this white dude is saying "Oh, that we, people have been killing our people or something." I have trouble all I really remember is them laughing about their evil plan, and the white guy has the weirdest laugh.
Yes,
Yes.
and it
Sam.
and the thing is like it doesn't go into the stereotypical villain laughs, lackey laughs, villain gets annoyed because lackey is laughing and then lackey shuts up. No, it just keeps going.
It keeps cycling over and over. I don't know if some of it was to pad time or something, because this is only an hour and 10 minutes.
Yeah.
But
I don't know, but I think Sam's laugh is hilarious.
yeah. I don't think he knows how to laugh and is just trying to emulate what he thinks laughter is.
That's why it's so funny.
Yeah. It's very weird. It goes on for like 3 minutes, though.
It does.
That's kind of like a big thing about this movie. There's a lot of very extended sequences of awkward things happening.
Oh yeah.
What else? What happens next? Right. Wait, is that the part where ninjas start showing up, or?
I mean, ninjas are there at that camp.
They
No,
are.
but I mean, do they start showing up to Velocipastor yet, or did that other thing
No.
happen? I think he gets caught by Father
Stewart.
Mark Twain, and he's like, "I'm a Velociraptor." He's like, "No, you're not. What's wrong with you?" And he's like, "I've been killing people." Well, that's wrong. That's bad. And he's like,
and he
"We
takes
need to."
him to an exorcist.
Yeah,
Yep.
yeah. I know. Gav, you were a fan of this person. Do you want to explain the scene?
Okay, so he takes him to an exorcist, and it's Voltaire. If any of you know who Aurelio Voltaire is,
Who I
it's my
thought
goth-
was gonna be like in more of the movie. I was hoping.
Yeah, me too. But he's so great. It's my goth YouTube dad. Is what I call him. Anyway, he is the exorcist, and so he takes him into like. Well, before that,
I was a little confused. Did he used to be like a priest and then he wasn't a priest?
I'm not sure. I was kind of confused with that too.
Yeah, there's a lot of confusing things that are about to happen in this scene.
But then, before they go into the back room to perform the exorcism, they cut out to a scene of Father Stewart.
It was prompted because he was like,
Yeah,
God,
well-
I can't believe I'm back here again with, I think his name was Altair. I haven't seen him since the war. And then we cut to the war.
Yeah, and we cut to the war, and it's like the scene where Father Stewart is walking with his buddy Ali, and
They're in Vietnam, by the way.
Yeah,
Even though it looks
and-
exactly like China.
yeah.
I don't know.
And Ollie and James Stewart are talking about their, I guess.
Wait, his name
how-
is James?
Yeah.
Oh, God. He's Jimmy Stewart.
Yeah. So they're talking about how I guess he has a girl back at home.
Yep.
And that Adeline or something.
Yeah.
Yeah. And so he just wants to go home to her and this.
He's gonna start that family with 5 kids.
No, 11 kids.
11 kids. Yeah, he's like, hey, you can go home, have yourself 3 kids. Heck, have yourself 5 kids. You know what? Have yourself 11 kids.
And name one of them after me.
Yeah.
Ali, my buddy from the war. And when he says, hey, Papa, who am I now? Why did you call me Ali? It's like, oh, that's my buddy from the war. And then you look at him, like, I'm going to look at you. And then smile, like, I'm going to smile at you. Because Ali, he went through the whole war, never got hit once. And, of course, he gets shot in the head.
Yep, and then he dies. And then Father Stewart is like writing a letter home to Ollie's parents.
With
like,
Ali's blood still on him.
Yup.
Yes. And then he sees Adeline in
Mm-hmm.
the distance, and she's calling for him. She's shouting, James, James.
Adeline!
And
Yeah,
and she's running to him, and then she steps on a landmine.
And she
Yep.
explodes, and it's just a shower of blood all over Mark Twain.
Yep.
Yep.
I'm sorry. I
medic's like,
couldn't.
"We
I
can't do
lost
anything
it
for
when
her
that
now."
happened.
Like, you knew it was going to happen so much.
Yes.
Then he's just like,
Yeah.
then I went back to the States and gave the priesthood another try. I'd like to point out that despite the fact that this entire flashback was set up with, I haven't seen this other guy since the war, he was not in the war at all.
Nope. I guess he must have just went to him after the war or something.
And yet we don't have
know.
any sort of sighting of that.
No, there's no context for that part.
Yes, so Voltaire comes out of nowhere, is about to be explained how he's known by Mark Twain, and yet then is never explained how they know each other.
Yeah.
That's a bit of exactly what just all this movie is in a nutshell, I think.
Yep. Pretty much.
But yeah, so they're going to perform a demonic exorcism, I guess.
And
voodoo exorcism.
Yeah. And then, I guess while they're doing that, Doug turns into, he starts turning into a velociraptor.
His arm turns into Velociarm.
Yeah. And his, eyes and skin get all, scaly and stuff, whatever. And then he rips out Father Stewart's eyeball.
Mm-hmm. And runs on out of there.
Yeah.
And Voodoo Man is just like, what have I unleashed upon this world? Ah, ha, 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 ha. And that's the last we see of him, ever.
Yep.
I could have used more of him, because I feel like they were trying to lead up to something and it didn't.
Yep.
But yeah, so, God, what happened after that? I think he
meets...
I think after that he runs into the ninjas.
Right. Oh, I like... This might have been, I think the smartest bit of comedy that they had. And they didn't do it to its full extent, I don't think. But, there's these three ninjas, one of whom is Australian, who are, trying to coordinate an attack on the Velocipastor. And while one is, explaining, all right, you're going to go from the right and try to, and you're going to do that move that he taught us where we spin around and do all that stuff and blah, blah, blah. One guy is, looking off in the distance. It's, and it's in a different language. And he's, talking man, he always talks like this ever since that one day. And he's, thinking about his girl back home.
Yeah.
And I'm this, it's essentially just the exact same thing that they did with Father Stewart. And I'm okay, this is hilarious, because it's some random person, doesn't even have a face we've never seen before, is just randomly doing this. And I think it's a missed opportunity, because they should have done it at least one more time in the movie. And they didn't. I really wish we would have had at least one more unsolicited, non sequitur flashback to your origin story for some random background character. Actually, fuck it. No, we do get that. Never mind. I'm wrong. It all comes full circle.
But can we talk about not talk about in length, but how the one ninja who was giving the orders was Australian?
I mentioned that he is Australian. It's weird. I mean, they're just a multinational organization, but
I mean that could be.
That was a very specific decision.
I mean, there's also this thing, and I mean, this is in real life context, and this is probably has nothing to do with this movie, but a lot of times English teachers that they'll have in I believe Japanese schools, and I think other schools that if they're teaching English, a lot of times the teacher who's teaching English is actually Australian.
Okay.
But that's mostly because it's a lot closer for
that makes sense.
Someone in Australia to be teaching people who are in Southeast Asia English because it's a lot closer for them.
Yeah.
But that's just real world sort of context. That's probably not what this is here. This is probably just
sense,
some guy putting on an Australian accent.
Yeah, it's weird and funny. I love the little side thing that the guy's doing. And then he dies because they fight Velocipastor and they get eaten. And then he shows up at what was the hooker's name?
Carol.
Carol?
Okay.
Carol.
Yeah, Carol shows up at Carol's house and he's like, I fought ninjas in the woods and I ate them and I'm hurt and blah blah blah. And then they have sex.
Oh, they have a full-on montage of,
there's a whole lot going on in that montage. It's almost epilepsy-inducing, though.
Yeah, it got to some parts and I was like, whoa, okay, stop with the flashing.
Yeah. Not
if this is making my eyes hurt.
Sexy flashing, just flashing imagery and lights.
Yeah.
So, yeah. So they do it, and so, that's... I don't know, is he allowed to be a priest anymore, or...
Technically, you're not allowed to have sex as a Catholic priest. No.
Yeah.
No.
That's what we are assuming that he is, because it definitely looks like a Catholic church of some kind.
It is, like, the thing is like, that's definitely what it appears to be, but, and they do call him Father, and he calls Father Doug Father, which
and Doug mentioned
usually
the vow of
means
celibacy.
priest. They don't really call themselves pastors, though.
I was looking that up because I was like, are they just misusing this? But apparently you can be a Catholic pastor, but it'd be a pastor in the Catholic Church. You have to be an ordained priest. So either way, you're a priest, a father kind of thing. So technically, it's not wrong. It's just a weird terminology that they're using.
Okay.
I know they're mostly using it for the pun in the title, because Velocipriest doesn't go as well as Velocipastor.
No, it does not.
But yeah, because I'm pretty sure pastors can get married. I think my cousin is married to a pastor. So yeah, but they're not Catholic. So
yeah, it's like outside of the Catholic Church, like I know pastors do marry.
Yeah.
Because I think one of my coworkers, her father is a pastor. And obviously he's her father, so like obviously like he has a family.
he's got kids.
So
At least one.
Yep.
I mean, unless he, reproduces through mitosis.
I mean,
There's your science lesson for the day. He ate
It's
too much Thai
called
food and just bam.
it's called parthenogenesis. That's the term.
All right, what's mitosis then?
Mitosis.
Or is that the water
really-
thing?
No.
That's osmosis.
Osmosis. No, that's the Chris Rock movie from way back when that Inside Out ripped off. We'll talk about that another time. See, now I'm just being an ass.
I mean, mitosis is just when like two cells split off, but it's
Yeah,
not
that's what I'm
like
thinking of.
it's like where the cells
Maybe he
split.
reproduces by mitosis, where he just split in half and his child was identical to him but at his same age. I don't know. Don't judge me.
Envy, you're dying.
Oh my gosh, I love it so much.
See, I think we just wrote an idea for a movie. That could be something. I don't think we're going to get a good pun name as Velocipastor, but...
No.
What would you...
I
what did
mean-
you say the... What was the process called again?
The term is parthenogenesis. where
Parthenogenesis.
It's basically asexual reproduction,
Yeah.
essentially.
Pastor.
But I do have
Nothing.
a pun name for that movie though.
For the one where the pastor splits and has his own kid?
Mitosis.
Mike Tosis. I'm assuming
Yes.
this is because the guy's name is Mike.
Yes.
Okay. Now, we don't know whether the real person's name is Mike. We're just going to call him Mike for the movie. Where were we? What are we talking about?
They had a sex scene. They banged
Right,
hard.
they did. Yeah. And a lot. Yeah.
And then as soon as they have done having sex, the ninjas come in and they have a fucking throwdown with the hooker
Yeah,
in
they
the
have a fight in their tighty whities.
Yeah.
The girl knows kung fu, by the way. I don't know why she never beat up her pimp or something. By the way, we should point out that not only is she a hooker, she is also pre-med and pre-law.
Yes.
Yep.
Because that was brought up at one point. She's like, I'm a hooker. He's like, you're a hooker? Yeah, and pre-med and pre-law, but no one really ever wants to focus on that. So yeah. But hey, there's not a lot of, there's not a lot of job demand for hooker doctor lawyers. So, God, what happened? What happened then? Yeah, they fought some ninjas. And then Jimmy Stewart wakes up in the ninja camp?
Yeah, he
didn't
gets
miss anything,
captured,
did
I
I?
think. No, he gets captured.
Okay. Yeah, he wakes up and they explain their evil plan. So as it turns out, God, what happened? I I feel like I am missing something that I'll have to bring up in a bit, but we'll talk about the motivation of the ninjas first. So, turns out they're also priests. They are priest ninjas.
Yeah.
And their plan is to take this super cocaine and take it into the cities, get everyone addicted, and then cut everybody off so that all of the addicts will have to go to AA programs sponsored by the church, and it will get everyone back in the church, and Christianity will dominate the world. That is the actual plan of this movie. I kind of love it.
Yep.
It's incredibly stupid and hilarious.
It only would work for this movie.
Yeah. I'll bring up later what I think this is a good comparison to, but that's for later. I think we missed a scene where I think Doug was trying to think about what his parents would want for him to do.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And we get a little flashback where they do nothing but laugh at breakfast.
Yep.
And then
For, like,
his
3
dad
minutes
is
straight.
driving him in the car.
Yeah, and he's like, "You're my only son, and I love you, and you have made a good decision going to become a priest. We love you. See you after priest college."
Yep.
Which is called seminary school, but we'll call it priest college for now.
Yes. Yes, it is.
Priest College is funnier.
Yeah. Anyway, back to the plot. Jimmy Stewart is like, "This is insane. You can't do this to people. This is not the way to get people to come back to the church." So, I forget what the evil leader's name is. We'll call him Dr. Fu Manchu because that's the character that he is. Dr. Fu Manchu says he's a heretic and kills him. More laughing. Because we needed more of that. And then... Right, we cut to back to the bedroom where we hear a voiceover of Doug saying, "Thank goodness those ninjas gave me the location of their evil base before they died."
Yep.
Yep.
Because they definitely didn't in the last scene. But yeah, so they're like, "All right, we're going to save Father Jimmy and stop the evil guys and all that sort of stuff." So they go do that.
Yep.
And he just suddenly brings out nunchucks for some reason, yet he doesn't. We've never seen him use nunchucks before.
Oh, we gotta talk about Sam.
We're about to, yeah, because Sam, the white ninja, is one of the generals of this camp, and he reveals his identity to Doug, and he's like, "It's me, brother." And I'm like, what? What is going on? So we see that, you remember the flashback that I just brought up? We see all of those again, but it also cuts away to Sam being there, not being included in anything.
Yeah.
Because, I don't know, he's not allowed to laugh at breakfast. He's, like, stuck in the trunk of the car when they drop him off at preschool, and they keep saying, "You're my only son."
I think they're just denying him being a part of their family because
Yeah.
he can't laugh.
I don't know. He keeps bringing it up during the fight because they're fighting and they're like, "What were you always laughing about at breakfast? What were you laughing about?" And it's really weird. But he has a sword, and then he's like throws it away. He's like, "That is the sword of my ancestors, and I will not sully it with your blood." And then they fight.
Yep.
And he gets his ass kicked, and then he tries to use the sword again, and Velocipastor uses the Force to take the sword. And he's like, "Your ancestors are my ancestors," and he kills his brother.
Yep. And that
And then-
blood is real orange.
Yeah, it's very Hammer horror film blood. And then I'd like to point out, the girlfriend Carol is supposed to be fighting people in the background, which she does when they cut to her. But whenever Doug and his brother are fighting, everyone in the background is just standing looking at them.
Yep.
It's like everything freezes as soon as they're off camera. Sort of off camera.
Yeah. And then she gets
But
stabbed,
yeah, so-
and then Doug thinks that she passed away. Then that unleashes the full might of the Velocipastor.
Well, they do have a cute little moment together that even the ninjas have to take pause and be like, "Oh, that's so sweet," before they get killed by a velociraptor creature.
Yep.
The final fight when he's in the full costume battling all the ninjas.
Best part of the movie.
You guys know how hard I laugh. I was in a conniption for how hard I was laughing at that.
Yeah.
It was so fucking funny.
That was worth it. That's the best part of the movie, and it's the climax, and it's great. Wonderful, wonderful fight. Bunch of ninjas getting their arms ripped off and murdered and killed, and a guy in a Velociraptor. It's more of a T-Rex costume, but you know, semantics. He's just running around biting people.
I can only imagine what it was like for them to film that scene.
I know exactly what it was like. Me and my younger brother when I was in high school, I was in the video club, and you know, we made some like short films that were just really dumb, whatever. But my brother, whenever he was coming up through, him and his friends, they got their hands on some like Batman Halloween costumes, and they did a series of like Batman movies that I actually came back a little bit and helped them with one of them, because like I think I was like just on winter break and I was back from college, so I was just like, I'll come chase, I'll come with you guys and run around as Batman and Robin and chase around your friend as the Penguin for like 2 hours. That's just a fun time. So, yeah, it's fun. If anything, I think this is a good movie that you can show people and be like, see, anyone can make a movie. Go out with some friends and shoot something. Doesn't have to be good as long as you're having fun. But we should get to the final fight of this battle, because so Dr. Fu Manchu, still don't remember the guy's name. He shoots an arrow into Velocipastor's leg and turns him back human, because the Chinese a very long time ago had to deal with many lizard men and figured out how to turn them back into humans so that they could fight them. It's very weird. But yeah, so he's like, any last words? And he's like, I think my arm is immune. And he kills him with a Veloci arm. Mm-hmm. And then he like spends 5 minutes just holding the dude's severed head and screaming.
Yep.
And then there's like a quote from Gandhi, and then he continues to scream.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
It's very weird. And you'd think that's the end of the movie, but it's not.
Nope.
It keeps going. So he's sitting in a hospital waiting room, and a doctor comes. He's like, "We did it. She's good. I'm gonna light up a cigarette in this waiting room." And yeah, so his girlfriend's fine, but the Catholic Church is still out there, and they're probably still gonna try to put out super cocaine. And there's a $1 billion bounty on Doug's head, so he has to go to a bunch of other countries now, make out with his girlfriend, and fight people as the Velocipastor.
Yep. Oh, can I just say that prior to the fight, so there was just something that I noticed that I was reminded very much of. He goes from, you know, being Father Doug to being Danny Zuko from Grease.
Oh yeah, he has a leather jacket thing going on.
And the white Converse. And the rolled up jeans.
Yeah. He wanted to look cool. Who's cooler than John Travolta in Grease? I don't know. Lots of people, but you know, he's a priest. He doesn't know what's cool.
Also, that car they had at the end, that Chevelle?
Yep.
That was a nice car.
It was a nice car, yeah. That's what they're going to drive around. They're going to drive it across the world, because he clearly drove it to China from America. And they're going to fight the Catholic Church on all fronts to stop them from trying to convert the world to Christianity through drugs.
Yep.
That's a sentence I got to say.
Brendan Steer in an interview said he would like to make a sequel to the film.
I'd watch it. I'd say give him a bigger budget. See how crazy he can get.
Uh-huh.
I mean, I don't know. I don't know how well this did on distribution and whatnot, because if he made some money back from it, I mean, great. Maybe he will make a sequel or something from this.
I mean, it is out on DVD.
Yeah, I'd imagine.
Like, you can actually buy it. Like a physical copy.
Yeah. If you're into weird, schlocky movies, like either intentionally bad or otherwise, this is a good one to go with. Because it's like, I don't know if you guys ever watched Birdemic.
No.
Like, The Room is the number one of the greatest, you know, so bad it's good movies. But Birdemic, it tends to be, like, up there in, like, a lot of people's minds for, like, really bad but really fun to watch movies.
I know exactly what movie you're talking about.
This is definitely a better movie than that, but it's like, it's one of those things where it's like they're aware that it's supposed to look kind of bad without it actually being bad. So yeah, if you're thinking about like watching Birdemic or something, I would say watch this instead. Unless you want to have your eardrums blown out, because Birdemic, they did no sound design or sound editing, and it's bad. Ooh. But what this one actually kind of reminds me of, and I don't know if you guys have ever seen this movie, but there's a movie called Black Dynamite from 2009. Did you guys ever watch that?
Nope.
No.
I've heard of it.
It is a parody of the black exploitation films of the 1970s. It is one of the funniest damn things I've ever seen. Because it's like, it's a professionally made movie that they're shooting intentionally to look like it's a low-budget piece of shit. I don't want to tell you what they do in it and how they do it, but it's like, I don't know. It's just one of those things where it's like, oh god, I want to tell you so much about it. It's insane. It's an insane movie. It's incredibly fun, and it's got like actually really some pretty damn good actors in it. But yeah, it's all just schlock and wonderful, and this is kind of what it's a higher budget version of what Velocipastor essentially is. Mm-hmm. So, I would say give that a watch if you're into this kind of movie. If you haven't seen it already.
It's kind of like when Robert Rodriguez did that Grindhouse movie back in the like 2000s as a tribute to the Grindhouse films of the 70s and 80s.
You mean like the Death Proof one and Planet Terror?
Yeah.
Yeah, those, and I know Robert Rodriguez had those 2 Machete films. Those are also kind of like that. But like, I think Black Dynamite is different because like, where the other 2 were kind of like homages, where those other ones were like homages to the Grindhouse films and the low budget stuff, but it was actually like meant to be taken like spoof seriously. Black Dynamite, like, okay, so they have like a bunch of shots in the movie where they purposely fully leave in the messed up take. Like, there's a scene where Black Dynamite he's like gonna say his big spiel about like, I'm gonna stop the drug dealers from doing whatever and doing bad things to our community, and it's like he's sitting at a desk and he stands up and his head hits the mic at the boom, and they leave it in, and he's like staring right at it as he's like delivering this speech, and they just leave it in the movie. Like, it's that sort of like, this is intentional that you're trying to look like a bad film, and I know that it doesn't sound at all funny the way I'm explaining it, but it's just hilarious in the movie. Like, there's another guy in the movie who he reads his lines, but while he's reading his lines, he's also reading his stage direction. So they're like about to infiltrate some compound or something in the jungle, and he's like, Black Dynamite, let me tell you about this girl that I have back home. Pulls picture out of shirt, and he does that. And I don't know. It doesn't sound funny at all when I'm describing it, but it's a hilarious movie, and I think they've talked about a sequel, and I'm hoping there's another one. But yeah,
I know they turned it into a cartoon on Adult Swim.
That one is hilarious as well. God, now I just want to go watch Black Dynamite again. I gotta show you guys so many movies. But let's talk about the actual movie at hand, Velocipastor. What are our like overall thoughts on the whole thing?
I mean, I was expecting this kind of film.
Mm-hmm.
Am I glad I watched it? Yeah, I had a good time. Was it probably something I would watch just on my own? Probably not.
It's definitely a movie to watch with friends.
Yeah.
I think it's hilarious.
Mm-hmm.
It is funny. Yeah.
I was expecting a bad film in the same range as like The Asylum, where like they're cheap movies, like they have no soul, they just make them for a quick buck. But this movie had passion in it, and you know what? I have to give some credit. Some of the acting scenes weren't terrible, like Mark Twain, as you call him. He wasn't that bad of an actor in the movie.
Yeah.
But its heart was in the right place, and they knew what they were doing, and I gotta appreciate that. So I enjoyed the hell out of the movie.
I think part of it was they were like they weren't. I think they knew that they wanted to have like a schlocky kind of like bad film,
Yeah.
and that's
They
kind of what
weren't
they were
taking
going for.
themselves too seriously from the beginning, so I think not making it too serious probably was like a good
Yeah, there's a
choice.
self-awareness to it that I don't think as many Asylum films have. Or like, I don't know, it's weird. Like, I think the Asylum films have to be like self-aware in that they know that they're making bad movies. But I think where they don't always land for me is that like they know they're making bad movies, so they're not like putting in a ton of effort. Versus, even if you know you're making a bad movie, if you put in a lot of effort, people will see that and enjoy it more.
The Asylum only puts in enough effort to make it seem like it's parodying or ripping off the thing that they're trying to cash in on.
Yeah. So yeah, I'm gonna say overall, I'm gonna give this movie a yay, and put it on whenever you have some friends over. You're just like enjoying yourself, having a drinking night or something. It's a good time, I think.
Yeah, I'm a definite yay too.
Yeah.
Yay.
Yeah. I don't know what else I was going to say. If you haven't checked it out, you should check it out. I mean, we pretty much told you the entire movie at this point, but there's a ton of other little things, like the jokes and stuff that you could find in there that we probably didn't talk about. So, yeah. Let us know in the comments what you thought. If you watched, I hope you watched it. There's a lot of places to find it, I think. So, all right. Next week we have we're starting JoJo's Bizarre Adventure, the OVA from 1993. If you haven't watched our other anime or nay from this week, if you haven't, you should, because it's good. We watched Magia Record and Nichijou. And don't forget, we got to talk about next month for movies, and that we decided on a movie for next month. It was Envy's recommendation. Why don't you take that away?
I mean, I'm on a personal mission to watch all the Studio Ghibli films, and I found out that it's the 25th anniversary of Whisper of the Heart, which is a prequel movie to The Cat Returns. So,
is it a prequel movie, or did this movie come first? Because I thought this movie came first.
Yeah, it came first, and then it led into like a spin-off to The Cat Returns.
Okay, so yeah, Whisper of the Heart for next month. JoJo's Bizarre Adventure from 1993. Well, technically we're starting with the part from 2000. You know what? Just look it up. We're starting where it starts with him in jail, I'm assuming.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's it. Anyone have anything else to say for this week, this month, this whatever?
Nope.
All right. We'll see you guys next time. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.
Bye.
Hey, thanks for watching, and if you haven't already, be sure to subscribe and ring the bell icon for notifications. If you enjoyed this video, give us a like, and if you haven't already, check out some of our previous episodes, our daily gaming videos, or our parody series Madoka Magically Abridged. See you next time!